And to help us build up to those two semi-finals, I spoke earlier today to former India cricketer turned broadcaster Snehal Pradhan, who is in the West Indies following all the action from close quarters. Snehal, thanks for joining us. It's been a remarkable run to the semi-finals for the Indian team, hasn't it? Theirs was termed a tough group before the tournament started, with the two top-ranked teams, Australia and New Zealand, a part of it. But 4 wins from 4. Are they now among the title favourites?
I'd like to say that because their form has been brilliant, they are the team which has remained unbeaten, and they have remained unbeaten in convincing fashion. From the other pool, West Indies have scraped through their matches to top the group. India have been dominant against the big teams, Australia and New Zealand, and you have to say that 6 months ago, you did not see this team qualifying for the semi-finals easily. Here we are talking about them as tournament favourites.
It is a bit of an anomaly, isn't it? In terms of performances though, Snehal, the spin quartet have really stood out, haven't they? 24 wickets between Poonam Yadav, Radha Yadav, Hemlata and Dipti Sharma. They've exploited the conditions very well, would you say?
I think more than the conditions, it's been the lines that they have bowled. Because in Guyana, on a flat wicket, high-scoring matches we have seen, but the Indian spinners have bowled one side of the wicket. They have used 6-3 offside fields, which we don't see very often in cricket. So it's these factors, these strategy games, and of course going in with a 1 pace and 4 spin attack, which has helped the Indian team do well, which has helped them dominate through spin. Now it will be interesting to see, knowing their plan, knowing the strategy, how the team adjusts and how their opponents also adjust.
The batting has been quite solid too, hasn't it, Nehal? And from an Indian point of view, Smriti Mandhana firing in the game against Australia would have been very welcome because she was going through a bit of a lean patch, wasn't she?
Yeah, it was very important for her to get runs on the board. It's interesting that she still doesn't have a T20 50 against an Asian side, but against non-Asian teams, she generally does very well. So against the likes of Australia and New Zealand, who put pace on the ball, she did well, especially coming good in that game against Australia. And looking forward, England have a couple of good seamers to start with, although they are depending heavily on their spinners in this tournament. But her form is very critical because she's such a big wicket. She sets the platform, sets the tone, and that's why I think the batting is looking in better shape going into this semi-finals.
England in the semis, of course, a rematch of last year's ODI final. But all the revenge angles aside, Snehal, have England hit top gear for you yet? Their batting in particular seems a bit fragile.
Their middle order was a little undercooked. They hadn't been tested beyond their top 3 or 4. But in their last game against the West Indies, where it required a 35 run from their number 7 to come good. So I think they are becoming a more dangerous team as the tournament progresses. They do have a habit of turning up in knockout matches. They have a good record over the last couple of years of doing well in knockout matches. So England are a very dangerous team. Certainly not looking like the most in the tournament. But it is something that India need to be very wary of.
Also, Snehal, India have played all of their matches so far in the morning to suit the viewership back home in India. This one, of course, is at night. Do you see it making a difference? Have the conditions been different for the night games?
I think since we're playing 2 matches on the same strip, on the same pitch, the second game is a little bit low scoring because you have a slightly more worn out surface, and I think this might play to India's advantage. Yes, England are going in with a number of spinners, but the Indian spinners have a pedigree, they have a plan, and I think having to play the second game will play to India's advantage because the pitch will be a bit more worn out. I'm sure they will have practiced for catching under lights because with the wind in the West Indies, that is the biggest factor. Catching under lights might be an issue, but I'm sure their preparation will have taken care of it.
Okay, let's look at the other semi-final now. West Indies versus Australia, rematch of the 2016 final. Australia really missed Elisa Healy against India, but she appears to be fit. Would you say that with her in the side, they will be the favourites, even though Windies have won all of their matches?
I would say certainly Australia are favourites. West Indies have looked mercurial. They have looked like they can demolish any team on their day. But whether that day will come tomorrow, you have to hedge your bets on Australia, who have the depth, who have the talent, the pedigree. At the same time, this will be, I think, a matchup of the two best fielding sides in the tournament, the two fittest sides in the tournament, and the West Indies have used fielding as their X factor that has set them apart, that has won them low-scoring games. So I think another factor will be the crowd, where we're expecting upwards of 10,000 people here in Antigua and the Sir Viv Richards Stadium. So those two factors, I think, might give the West Indies an edge, but Australia are favourites.
Where do you think these two matches will be decided for you, Nehal? Talk us through what you think will be some of the key battles.
When it comes to India-England, I think how the Indian spinners do and how the England batters negotiated will be a key battle, because to a one-sided field, you might see the England batters using their sweeps and the reverse sweeps, which are shots that they are very good at. So I think how their sweeps and reverse sweeps go up against the Indian spinners will decide it. For West Indies and Australia, I think the opening combination for Australia, if in the power play the Windies can restrict the Australians, that is the chance you have to just hold them back at the back end, because their strategy, their batting order is designed to maximize the power play overs and get the best start and then build a good score.
Okay, one final question, and I'm going to put you on the spot, Snehal, if you allow me to. Which two teams do you think will be meeting in the final on Sunday?
I'm rooting for an India-West Indies final, because that is what world cricket needs. That is what this region needs. I have a feeling it's going to be India-Australia.
Yes, no sitting on the fence there. Snehal Pradhan, thank you very much for joining us with that crisp and comprehensive analysis from Antigua.